Second Shabbos Daf Kuf Nun Vav. More as a stira, if you're allowed to be goyvi, you're allowed to mix the roasted flour. And the Gemara says that according to Rabbi Yehuda, that holds the Issa Losh is only when you mix it, not when you add water to the flour, but you have to mix it. According to him, it's mutter, and the Gemara says only mutter if you meshana, if you do a shinui. The Gemara says, "Heichidomi, what's the case of a shinui?" Amar Chista al yad al yad. The Prim Gadim says that according to Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch, the whole heter of al yad is only by kemach she'eni kolui, which is awesome d'Rabbanan. However, according to Tosfos Daf Yud Ches, it's mashma that even though that's a lav bar gibul, is still chayiv min haTorah. Akochari holds that kemach koli is a bar gibul, and it's a bar gibul, so therefore, if you mashal at the time of the mixing, it's mutter. And the Bir Halacha brings a kasha from Nishmas Odom that if it's awesome d'Oraisa, according to Tosfos, to do gibel, to make a lisha with such flour and water, how is it mutter al yad al yad? Al yad al yad is mashma, doing a little bit at a time. So it says if you're doing a little bit at a time, should be awesome because chatzi shir awesome in Torah. The Bir Halacha says, don't say that since you wanted to mix a lot and you're only mixing a little, that itself is a shina. He says in Mavur, from the fact by Arigo, when you're going to be Oirig a Bega Godol, and you just Oirig a little bit at a time, it's not considered a Shinoi. So the Bir Halacha says that perhaps you could say al yad doesn't mean a little bit, it means a Shinoi. But he says the Rif and Rabbeinu Chananel is Mavur that the heter is because you're doing a small amount at a time. So it's Hadra Kusha L'Duchta. So the Bir Halacha says perhaps you could say that the Rav Chisda is going to Shitasoi that says on Daf Ayin Daled Amud Aleph by the sugya of boirer. When you're doing a little bit at a time, it's not derech boirer, it's not a derech of malacha, it's derech achila. When the fact that you do a little bit at a time is not just the chatzi shir, makes it into derech achila as mafkir the shem halacha. But he asks, if that's the case, why does the Rif and the Rambam bring this halacha with the maskana, the Gemara Daf Ayin Daled doesn't hold of the svara of Rav Chisda? So in that the Bir Halacha says a chiddush to answer this kasha, that over here it's mutter even more than the groigris. And he says the reason is that since over here it's talking about the kernels of wheat were dried out in the oven and it's already royal achila. Now when you're mixing water to it, it's not like you're making a lisha b'chlal, it's just derech achila. And it's as if you're putting roitiv into a tafshul, and when you add roitiv into a tafshul, it's not lisha, it says only a lisha m'drabanan, so therefore it's mutter al yad al yad. And then the Bir Halacha says another svar that's mamish b'shas achila, and it's mutter because it's derech achila, although the Gemara before and Daf Ayin Daled holds the maskana that there's no heter of derech achila. Over here, since it's already cooked and you're just doing it to add water into the tafshul, it's mamish derech achila, and kuli alma would agree that over here it's mutter because it's derech achila. Ayin Chazanish, there's many ha'aris on the Bir Halacha of Ayin Sham. The Egli Tal says a different svara why specifically by law should be mutter and chatzi shir, and he says the explanation is because the meleches losh is different than all malachas, and the isser is to combine all the flour and water into one chaticha akas. So therefore, when you do less than the full amount, it's missing the ikar malacha. Moving further on, the Mishnah says, Mechatchin, that's a dluim, lefnei abehema, that's a nevela, lefnei klov. Rikveig over here says a tremendous chiddush according to Rashi and the Rav, that the het over here to be Mechatchin as a dluim, lefnei abehema, is although the dluim was a Michael Adam and it wasn't fit for a person to eat it, it wasn't prepared yet, it wasn't cooked yet. But since in the middle of Shabbos, you're taking the deluim and giving it to the animal, so now according to Reb Shimon, you're allowed to do that. And he explains that there's a machlokes rishonim. If Tosfos says on the Kuf Chav Ches Mili the chazi leklavim, something that's only dog food, is mutter betiltel. However, the Rashba and the Balamor write that raw meat is also betiltel, even though it's fit for a dog, because since it's edible by a person, if he'll cook it properly after Shabbos, it's considered muktza. Kvega says that even according to the opinion of the Rashba and the Balamor, that it's considered muktza, meat that's miyuchid for a person to be eaten after Shabbos. Over here, now Mishnah, it's mutter. And he explains, because only if you metaltel it, if you move it, it's also because it's still miyuchid for achila of a person after Shabbos, and it doesn't have any hishtamshus on Shabbos, therefore it's muktza. However, if you decide on Shabbos to give it to a dog, then right now it becomes chazi and edible and roy for a dog. So therefore it's not muktza. And according to Shimon doesn't hold of migudis katzoi ben hashmashos k'tzoi l'kul, so it's mutter to eat for the animal in middle of Shabbos. Chazon Ish asked many kashas on Kvega. He says, how could you Kvega say such a chiddush that according to Shimon you're taking something that was muktza ben hashmashos and now giving it to an animal in middle of Shabbos? He says, if that's the case, then take a stone and be miyachid it middle of Shabbos to crack open nuts, and it should be mutter, and that's definitely usher. And he says also, kash al mito, you have straw on a bed, it's mavur, that you have to miyachid it before Shabbos. Why do you have to miyachid it before Shabbos? Even in the middle of Shabbos, you should take it and be miyachid it for shtamshus. We can answer this kashas of the Chazon Ish and Kvega according to a yisoid that's mavur in the stipler that we spoke out on the Chav Tes to explain the Rashba that says that there is iser shtamshus or muktza, and he explains that there's two types of muktzas. There's one type of muktza is something you mekatze das from. It's something that's raw, something that has a din kli, but you mekatze das from it. There's a machlokes Yehuda Shimon, if you mekatze das without being dachi b'yadayim, if that's considered muktza or not, and that muktza is learned out from the pasuk v'chinu. And they said that muktza, which will include noilat, is also not only in tiltul, but even in ishtamshus according to the Rashba. Then you have another type of muktza, something that doesn't have a din kli b'chlal, like wood and stones. He says that's not because of a chesor and hachana, not because it wasn't prepared, because even if you're prepared for Shabbos, if you just prepared for one Shabbos, it'll still be also. You have to be miyachid it long term. So it's not because of chesor and of hachana, but it's a new halacha. Since it doesn't have a din kli b'chlal, it's a different type of muktza. The makor of that muktza is either according to the Rambam because gzeir mishum hoitzah, or shlo yitiltulach b'shavach ketiltulach b'chol, and the Stipler says that all these svaros are specifically for tiltul. So such a muktza of eitzim, v'avonim, and kash that's not a kli b'chlal is only iser in tiltul, and it's not also in the shtamshus. So according to this, we could explain beautifully Kvega. That Kvega is only talking about the first type of muktza, that it's also mitshum chesar and hachana hudika asidan Allah. So therefore, according to Shimon be'emtze Shabbos, you could take this meichel that's fit for a person and miyachid it for a dog and give it to a dog. So now it's at muchan. And according to Shimon, it doesn't have to be muchan ben hashmashos. But in the Chazon Ish's case, when you take a rock or kash or straw, that's not a kli b'chlal. That's not because of chesor and achana. It's be'etzem muktza, because it's not a kli. So the fact that you miyachid it in the middle of Shabbos for shtamshus is not going to help, because that muktza has nothing to do with yichud. It's also be'etzim because it doesn't have a kli. So over there, you can't be miyachid it for hishtamshus in the middle of Shabbos.